Hello everybody and welcome to Hamilton's Happy Hour, where today we are opening up a pack of 1989 Topps baseball cards, and right there is the gum. For those of you not familiar, they used to include a stick of chewing gum in the baseball card. So this, as of recording, this chewing gum inside is 34 years old. So again, we're going to be taking a look at the 1989 Topps Major League Baseball cards. Before we get into it, we do want to remind you to check out our website, www.hamiltonshappyhour.com. Whole lot of cool stuff on there: podcast, videos, reviews, baseball card openings, toy unboxing, a lot of cool stuff. So check it out, hamiltonshappyhour.com. You can also get links to all of our social media outlets: Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, TikTok. So check it out. Hope you enjoy everything. Again, hamiltonshappyhour.com. So let's jump right into this pack of cards. As you can see, it says it's 15 cards, 15 bubblegum cards, and 1 stick of bubblegum. It advertises on the front there: win a trip to 1990 spring training, Topps Spring Fever Baseball, entry form inside, no purchase necessary. Let's take a look at the back. So there's the Spring Fever Baseball. It says no purchase necessary. To enter, send your name, age, address, and zip code on a plain 3x5 piece of paper to Topps Baseball Spring Fever Card Sweepstakes, yada yada yada. Spring training trip worth up to $5,000. Imagine that back in the day you entered a contest by mailing a plain 3x5 piece of paper, instead of now everything is online. And what's that? So copyright 1989, the Topps Company, Inc., Duria, Pennsylvania, made and printed in the good old USA. So we're going to crack open the pack. We're going to take a look at the cards and maybe give you some of my own memories of the guys we're taking a look at. I wonder how that gum is. Don't expect me to eat that gum, guys. Alright, let's crack it open. Try to not totally annihilate the wrapper. Look at that gum. Look, that's what you used to get in every pack of cards. And look, it's just right on top of the card. And we would just eat the gum. We didn't care it was inside a pack on top of a card. We would pop it in and we would start digging at our cards. So let's put the gum right over here with the pack. Looks like they're kind of mixed up here. So that's a card for the company store if you want to buy a t-shirt. The size is only one up to, for adults, only one up to extra large. And the t-shirt itself, $9.95 plus $1.25 postage and handling, so $11.20 total for that t-shirt back in 1989. So right off the top, we got Ernie Whitt. I remember he was the catcher with Toronto Blue Jays right there. Let me see if I was right with the position. Let's look at Ernie's stats. Yep, Ernie Whitt, catcher. See right there, catcher. And there's his stats. He did some time with the Red Sox, or a year with the Red Sox. Then rode it out with the Blue Jays. Looked like his best year, probably 87. Ernie is a part owner of a Toronto restaurant franchise. Fun fact on Ernie Whitt. Next card in the pack, Jack Howell. I honestly don't remember much of Jack Howell. Let's take a look at his stats. So he was fairly new dude. Started with the Angels in '85. Looks like, I don't know, I guess his best year would have been what? 86, 87, 86. The Angels were in the playoffs. That's the year they lost in the playoffs to the Red Sox, who eventually went on to lose the World Series to the Mets in a legendary series. That whole playoff, that '86 playoff, was legendary. Mike Scott was a beast for the Houston Astros against the Mets, but those '86 Mets, you couldn't touch them. The only one who could beat the '86 Mets was theirself. And there's actually a great documentary on ESPN, one of the 30 for 30, but it's like a mini-series. I think it's called One Night in Queens, but it's a great documentary on those '86 Mets. The next card we have is old Freddie Lynn. Speaking of the Boston Red Sox legend. He spent some time in Baltimore, but this year here, '89, he was with the Tigers. I think, yeah, so he came to the Tigers right after the Orioles. Yeah, legendary. Those late '70s Red Sox teams, Fred Lynn was a big star on those teams. He did pretty good with the Orioles, too. I don't remember much of his time in Detroit. There's Fred Lynn's stats. Freddie Lynn. Then our next card, Jose Lynn. I don't remember much of him. Really, the Pirates in the '80s? I mean, you remember Bobby Bonilla, Bobby Bonds, Andy Van Slyke, a few other guys. So yeah, this guy looks like he spent a lot of time in the minors, then came up to the Pirates in '87. Didn't play many games in '87. Played pretty much the whole season in '88. Second baseman for the Pirates. Honestly, again, Jose Lynn, don't remember much of him. Chuck Krim from the Milwaukee Brewers, the Brew Crew. Looks like another one, spent some time in the minors. Came up in '87 to the Brewers. Those late '80s Brewers teams weren't that memorable either. They were like Pittsburgh. They were good in the early '80s. Not much in the late '80s. Next card, Pat Tabler with the Kansas City Royals. Gotta love that royal blue. Spent some time with the Cubbies, the Indians, and then '88 was his first year with the Royals. Looks like he played just under 90 games. Down there at the bottom, Pat's ninth inning 3-run game-winning double on August 9th, 1988 raised his bases loaded average to .565. That's damn good bases loaded average. And look, we were just talking about the Brewers, and you can't talk about the '80s Brewers without talking about Paul Molitor, legendary Milwaukee Brewer. Him and Robin Yount are probably the most recognizable names from those '80s Brewers teams. '82, they just snuck past the Orioles. The last game of the year, they snuck past the Orioles to make it into the playoffs. See Paul Molitor put up some great numbers throughout his career. A little fun fact at the bottom, Paul batted safely in 39 consecutive games in 1987. Next card we got San Francisco Giants Mike Aldrete. So this 89 Giants team went on to the World Series that year. That was the year they had an earthquake. It was Oakland A's and San Francisco Giants. So this 1989 Mike Aldrete team, that team went to the World Series that year, lost to the Oakland A's. Phenomenal Oakland A's team that year. They had the Bash brothers, Jose Canseco and Mark McGwire. Juiced up or not, those guys were hitting bombs. Giants had the great Will the Thrill Clark on the team that year. On to our next card, Cleveland Indians #1 draft pick, Mark Lewis. And look, and he played for Hamilton. Hamilton's Happy Hour. Check that out. Pretty cool. So, yeah, this is his college stats. I wonder whatever he doesn't name doesn't ring a bell. So I'm wondering what type of career he had in the pros. He says he was a shortstop. Mark Lewis. If you're familiar with Mark Lewis's career, of course I'll Google it after this, but leave me a comment below. Now we go on to the Texas Rangers, Ed Vandenberg. Spent some time with the Mariners, Dodgers, Indians, Rangers, just kind of bounced around. Ed was selected to Topps 1982 Rookie All-Star Team. That's pretty cool. Then we go to the Chicago Cubs legend, Andre Dawson. Another guy, when you think of those 80s Cubby teams, you think of Andre Dawson, you think of Ryne Sandberg. The guys are just, when you think of the teams during that time period, those are the guys you think of. Let's look at his stats here. So yeah, he started with the Montreal Expos, and he was on the Expos with legendary catcher Gary Carter. Looks like the Expos got rid of Andre Dawson after the '86 season. And I believe the Expos got rid of Gary Carter probably like after the '83 season, or I'm thinking after the '83 season. So they lost two legends within like 3 years. But some phenomenal numbers put up by Andre Dawson in his career. Next we have a baseball checklist. So these were the numbered cards, and you could check them off as you got them. And back in the day, man, we used to, I think, how much were these packs of cards? I want to say they were like 25 cents a quarter, maybe 35 cents. It's not on the pack, but we used to, the kids that grew up in the early 80s dropping quarters into arcade games like Pac-Man and Donkey Kong, Centipede. As we became teenagers, we started dropping quarters on these baseball cards. Now, we still played video games. It was just inside of our room with our Nintendo. We didn't have to go out to arcades. But yeah, so these baseball cards, you get 4 packs for $1, I think. And you would often get, you would get doubles. You trade with your buddy. So this would be a way to keep track of what cards you have. It's pretty cool. Turn back the clock. Great stolen base champion up until Rickey Henderson. Lou Brock, 1979 Cardinals. Cincinnati's got a young rookie. Geez, I can't think of his name, but just the other day he stole second, third, and home in the same inning. And it's great to see young, fast players like that, because growing up, Rickey Henderson was one of my favorite players. Rickey Henderson and Nolan Ryan. But again, before Rickey Henderson was a stolen base champ, Lou Brock was the man. So look, 10 years. This is saying 10 years ago. So the card came out in '89, and they're saying 10 years ago to '79. So there's a little write-up on Lou Brock. Then we get to the Cleveland Indians pitcher, Tom Candiotti. See, he went from the Brewers to the Indians. So he started with the Brewers in '83, which was the year after they snuck by the Orioles to get into the playoffs. And then '83, of course, was the year the Orioles won the World Series. Haven't been to the World Series yet. Let's go O's. So there's Tom Candiotti, his numbers. And our last card in the deck, we talked a lot about this team earlier. The great 1986 New York Mets. And here is Roger McDowell, one of the characters from that team. Roger McDowell was more like a relief pitcher. So you see he spent all of his time until that point with the Mets. Started in '85. His save numbers were 17, 22, 25, and what's that, 16 in 1988. 1988, the Mets were actually in the playoffs also against the Dodgers. The Dodgers beat them in the playoffs that year. That was the great team they had. When Kirk Gibson hit that great home run to win the game. One of the more memorable moments in baseball, I'd say baseball history, Kirk Gibson's World Series home run. So that was the '88 Dodgers that beat Roger McDowell and the '88 Mets in those National League playoffs. So there's Roger's numbers. So all in all, we got Fred Lynn, legendary dude. We've got Andre Dawson, great player. Paul Molitor, great player. And Roger McDowell, just a memorable player, I would say. So these are probably the best 4 cards out of this pack. And again, here is the chewing gum, the bubble gum that came with it. Look at that, guys. That's 34-year-old, 35-year-old stick of chewing gum. I'm not going to chew it. I'm not going to eat it. Sorry. But that's it. Hope you enjoyed it. Again, check us out online, Hamilton'sHappyHour.com. Get links to all of our socials, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. And until next time, guys, take care and see ya.